Did you know that Google personalizes many searches by city and Also Asked is the only tool to access live People Also Ask data at city level? Try for free at alsoasked.com.
Tired of SEO guesswork? Quadra's AI agent goes deeper to uncover high-impact optimizations and completes hours of SEO in minutes. Get started now.
I was going to say that SEO with Fat Joe is as peaceful as this, but then the birds are all having fights.
Hey guys, I'm Kazushi. I'm tired, I'm sleepy, because I am. I'm definitely jet lagged after flying here all the way from Tokyo for it was 13 hours of flight. It's about 10 p.m. In Tokyo right now, so please do wake me up if I'm start to sleep on the floor on the stage. We also brought some Japanese snacks from Tokyo. We have a matcha Kit Kat. It's at our booth, so if you're interested, please come and grab them. Or if you're looking for advice about your next Japan trip, we can also help you too. Okay, so the title of my talk is Data-Driven SEO, a framework-based approach. Actually, it's about nav boost. No, it's not. It's about data-driven SEO, a framework-based approach. And this is based on the experience I had working with Japanese SEOs in general for about 5 years now. And I don't know if the experience really translates here in the UK, but we'll see. Let's go. So, quick self-intro. I was born in Kyoto, Japan, and raised there. Went to London School of Economics to do my master's in anthropology. I really wanted to do a PhD there, but I ran out of money, so I had to get a job at Google. And I worked there for about 10 years on Google Search, Google Play, mostly fighting spam, doing data analysis and stuff like that. I also worked a little bit at Twitter after leaving Google, but I left before Elon Musk took over, so I kind of missed all the drama. I probably should have stayed longer for it. But now, I'm here as the founder of JadeKK, which is the company that I founded in Japan after coming back. And so data-driven SEO is a topic that I've been talking about a lot for the last 2 to 3 years. And I think it's really, really important to talk about it now. But the question is, why now, right? Hasn't SEO always been data-driven? And why is it becoming increasingly important these days? Well, we can flip the question to ask, why was data-driven SEO difficult in the past? I do think this was quite true in the past. And I think there are 2 reasons. The first is the lack of good data, and the second one is lack of good framework. So when I talk about lack of good data, I'm talking about lack of quality first-party data. So ever since Google took away your search queries when they went HTTPS, the only way for webmasters to get search queries is Search Console, right? And when I was working at Google, I thought everyone was using Search Console because it's the only place you can get search queries from. But in reality, they don't really use Search Console. They use other tools like Ahrefs and SEMrush because Search Console has good data, but the UI associated is so hard to use. No one's really wanting to really use it. But I think in the past 2 to 3 years, the situation has definitely been changing a lot, which I will address in the following slides. And now you can really use good first quality data in order to do data-driven SEO. The other aspect is a lack of framework to guide which metric to really focus on. So when I went back to Japan and started talking to SEOs, I realized that people don't really have a good framework when it comes to SEO. I mean, they have a checklist of things that they should be doing. They have a checklist of things that they shouldn't be doing, but they don't really have a framework that tells them, what hypothesis they should have and tells them what data they should be collecting. and which will lead to what actions they should be taking in order to improve those metrics. I don't know about the UK, but in Japan what happens is people tend to just create a list of search keywords that they're interested in, looks at the monthly search volume for everything, and then just sorts it descending based on the monthly search volume and tracks ranking for the website for all of those queries. And I wouldn't say it's bad, it's a good starting point, but at the same time, it's not very actionable. It doesn't really tell you where you are. And SEO is not just about ranking. It's a good indication of where you are, but you can't really move the needle if you're only looking at ranking. You need to look at other things. So I did a lot of Google searches about, are there a good framework when it comes to SEO that I can use in order to help my clients, my website? But I really wasn't able to. So we ended up creating one ourselves, and that's something I'd like to share today. And we've been using this framework for the past 3 to 4 years. And it has definitely served us pretty well. It's because there's been a lot of updates in the past 3 to 4 years, but we work with dozens of companies and hundreds of websites, but we've never seen the site that we look after get negatively impacted by the updates that are coming from Google, be it core updates, spam updates, helpful content updates, stuff like that. We've seen a lot of websites improve after they've come to us saying, hey, our websites got hit by the last core update, what should we do? And we've been providing advice about, hey, you should do X, Y, and Z based on our framework. And the results have been quite impressive. So that's the framework. So what does it look like? We call it the search interaction models, because models, plural, because it has actually 2 models. The search engine model, discover, crawl, index, rank, and the search experience model, query, click, land, and surf. It's very, very simple, and it kind of abstracts things a lot, and it tells you, break things down into quite 8 bits, but simplify them a lot so that it's actually actionable. So the DCIR model, the search engine model, is about how search engines interact with URLs. And it's really basic, right? DCIR. I think maybe you're like, hey, Kazushi, everybody knows this. This is basic SEO. Search engines need to discover, crawl, index, and rank a website in order to, show your website for search users. And you're right. This is very basic. Even Google talks about this all the time. But at the same time, I haven't really seen someone come up with a list of good metrics for these phases of search engines. For example, even Google doesn't do it. Google gives you a number of URLs that are indexed and the number of URLs that are not indexed in the Search Console. But it's not a really good metric, right? Because if you focus on the number of URLs that are indexed, then this is actually something that we've seen in Japan as well. People will start breaking URLs into smaller bits. So instead of having a full article, I've seen websites that split one article into 4 different pages so that you have more pages indexed. And if you have a metric that tells you, hey, I need to have more pages that are indexed, it makes sense, right? But in reality, it just introduces more hindrance for the users. And it's not really it's not a really good user experience. And in the end, maybe you will see less engagement on your pages, and as a result, bad SEO in the end. So what we've been doing is rather looking at discovery rates, and crawl frequencies, index rates, ranking and visibility. So Instead of looking at the number of URLs that are indexed, number of URLs that are crawled, we are looking at the percentage of URLs that are crawled, the percentage of URLs that are indexed, focusing on the pages that are actually interesting, the URLs that actually matter for your users, the URLs that you care about, and focusing on getting 50% index rate to 60, 70% index rate for those important subdirectories or URL patterns. And this mindset has really helped us. And for example, we've seen a client come to us saying, hey, our pages aren't indexed. And we have a lot of pages on our website, but none of them are showing up in the SERPs, and we don't know what to do. So we did a data analysis into what's going on, broke down their website into these phases, and what we found was that it wasn't the indexing part that was the problem, because none of their important pages were being discovered. So discovery was the problem. They were like a real estate listings website, and what was happening is that they have a new listings feed on their top page that is client-side rendered, and for some reason Google decided not to render that part of the web page. So they were not seeing any new listings that come to the website. So we fixed it. We made sure that those new pages were being discovered, and as a result, we led to more pages that are being crawled and getting pages that are more indexed. So breaking the problem into different bits was very, very important. You can't just say, hey, my site's not indexed. You really need to do an analysis into, well, is my site crawled in the first place? Is my site discovered in the first place? In order to really talk about the indexation problems for your website. Okay, so that's the search engine model. And we have the search experience model that is based on the search users' experience with your website, how they interact with your site. And this is also really, really simple, right? You query, and then you look at the search listings, you click on one of them, you land on the page, you look at it, and if you're satisfied with the site, maybe you will look at the other pages on the site as well. This, everybody knows this, right? This is very simple. But at the same time, I haven't seen anyone come up with, a good metrics for these. Especially, I want to talk a little bit about the search journey concept. I don't know how popular this concept is in the UK, but a search query doesn't exist in vacuum by itself, right? It exists in relation to other search queries that the user has done, maybe before the search query and after. And for example, maybe you want to go to Asia and looking at, which country should I go to? Should it be Japan, South Korea, Taiwan? You do a search for that. And you will decide, Japanese Kit Kats are amazing. Visit our booth, and I'll go to Japan, right? But after you've decided to go to Japan, you'll discover that actually, Japan is not a city, it's a country. And there's actually a lot of cities in Japan. There's Kyoto, there's Tokyo, there's Hokkaido. Which one should I go to? And you will do a search for that. And you will eventually come to the conclusion that Kyoto is the best city. That's where I'm from. And you will come to Kyoto, because Kyoto is the capital of Japan. Tokyo is behaving as if they're the capital, but don't be fooled. Kyoto is the capital. Kyoto literally means the capital city in Japanese. Tokyo, on the other hand, means the eastern capital. So Kyoto is the best city. Please remember that. Anyway, and then after you've decided to go to Kyoto, you look for restaurants in Kyoto, hotels in Kyoto, and maybe you'll go to other cities around Kyoto, like Osaka, Nara, Kobe, which are a little bit inferior to Kyoto, but that's fine. You can go there as well. what I'm saying is that there is a journey for the search user that you need to think about when you're constructing your pages. If you have an article that talks about how amazing Kyoto is and it's the best city in the world, then you need to have contents that are linked from there so that the user can surf to those pages about, hey, here's a list of restaurants that you should visit. Here's a list of hotels that maybe you want to book and stuff like that. And you really want to make sure that by implementing search journeys on your website, the users won't go back to Google, won't go back to Perplexity, won't go back to ChatGPT in order to continue their search journey. You want the user to end the search journey on your website. And you need to look at things like scroll rates, engagement rates, surf rates, conversion rate in order to really focus on those. Okay, so that's the framework we're using. Now we have a good framework. It's going to give us a list of things to look at, a hypothesis around, hey, this might be the part that's broken. Now, all we need is good data. And I said we are starting to get really good first-party data from Google these days. And I think in the past 3 years, there were 3 changes that finally delivered good data. The first is URL inspection API. Have you been using the API? Hands up if you have. Maybe some. Yeah, maybe some are using it. URL inspection API is an API that gives you pretty much all the information Google has about an URL. You just have to throw the URL to the API. They will give you, hey, is this URL discovered? Is it crawled? When did they crawl it? Where did they find the URL? Is it indexed? And it's the perfect, the missing thing that Google wasn't providing before. I have 4 minutes left. So that's good data about discovery, crawling, indexing. And there's Search Console BigQuery export. Have you been using it? If you haven't, you really, really should. Because Search Console UI doesn't give you the full query data. Right? You can't look at queries and URLs at the same time. It only gives you 1,000 queries per time. But if you export your Search Console data to BigQuery, it's going to have everything. All the queries, all the URLs, or some of them are anonymized because they're too small, but it will have the URLs, so ranking, impressions, clicks are all covered. And then the same thing about Google Analytics 4 BigQuery export. Have you been using it? Anyone? Because everyone complains about GA4 because it's so shitty. The UI is so hard to use. But locked behind those shitty UI is great data about user engagement on your website. And if you start exporting them to BigQuery, then all of the data is available for you. So by using these 3 new data that you have, and it's free, by the way. Universal Analytics, you had to pay in order to get BigQuery. GA4, it's free. So you only need to pay for BigQuery storage for it. It's pretty cheap. Now all our data belongs to us, finally. And now we can start answering questions like, so what proportion of my website is indexed, right? Before the inspection API happened, there were a couple of options. You could use the Search Console UI to do URL inspection, or do site colon scraping. But the UI only offered a few URL inspections per day. It was really hard to automate. You couldn't really get the full picture. But site search is not accurate. Sometimes it does return things that are actually not indexed. And if you do it too much, it gets blocked really early. But after the inspection API, you have accurate data, you can automate the jobs, and it has a limitation, 2,000 euros per day per property. But if you do smart random sampling, you can get around it pretty easily. And so like which subdirectory is the most likely to be indexed? Are they crawled but not indexed, just not crawled? All of these questions are now answerable. And it's great. Now, APIs can be a little bit difficult. Creating a list of URLs to query API was the biggest pain. So on our side, we created a tool to do a random sampling of pre-existing assets, compute and visualize 95 CI, and manage the URL quota. And it looks like this. It's pretty cool. Maybe you can do similar things as well. The other question that comes up often is, I change my titles, descriptions for a subdirectory. Am I getting more traffic? Right? This is something that you can't really track just by looking at the ranking. And before the BigQuery export, you had to do it in the UI or use the API. It was a nightmare to manage the Search Console filters in the UI, but the API gave you only partial data. But after BigQuery export, you have all the data. You can do anything with SQL in BigQuery. If you think BigQuery is difficult, well, we kind of created a tool as well, so that that enables creating dashboards, dedicated Search Console easily without writing SQL. So if you want to use the tool, you can. But if you want to use Looker Studio, that's pretty cool too. Okay. The last common question is, which page is the most common destination after landing? What was my second page, which injected something in Universal Analytics, gone in GA4? With the GA4 UI, it's a nightmare. It's actually impossible, I think, to get a list of pages that were their second pages. But with GA4 BigQuery export, it's easy, right? So you can just visualize everything with BigQuery like that, and our tool as well. So if you have a good framework, if you have a good data, that will lead to great data-driven marketing. And if you have a good tool, that's great data-driven marketing for everyone, right? And that's our tool's name, Amethyst. So if you're interested, please visit our booth, and thanks.